Hey, what's going on, everybody? I just wanted to go through kind of my Grand Arena roster and how I prepare for Grand Arena. I'm not going to go over specifically my offense or defense, but just kind of how I go about my roster in choosing what teams to use for my Grand Arena. So for this purpose, my roster is 3.3 mil. So I use 6 offensive and 6 defensive. You can change the number that I'm using to your benefit, depends on whatever roster you have. Basically, what I do is I choose 12 teams that I'm very happy about and put them in the same PvP squad management section here. So if you have 14, put 14 teams here. But what you should do is when you choose 14 teams or 12 teams or 10 teams, however it is, make sure that you're confident in the mod selection and make sure you mod them and all of them very well. It's going to take some time to fill out very good teams fully. A fully developed Grand Arena roster is hard to come by. But in the long run, it'll help for, of course, Grand Arena, as well as Territory Wars and Territory Battles. Territory Wars, you can't swap mods. Grand Arena, you can't swap mods. So you need to have, for example, 12 different teams all modded with their own specific mods. So basically what I'm doing is I have Darth Revan, Janet Revan, Grievous, Night Sisters, Padme, Traya, Geos, Bounty Hunters, working on the Shakti clones. Hopefully they become meta within a couple weeks, a new character. Palpatine, CLS, and First Order. Those are my 12 teams. There's certain teams that are specifically used for offense, like CLS and Palpatine. For the time being, Shakti will be offensive, and like Traya, Padme, and some other teams. So that's kind of the general gist of it. And then if you don't want to watch the rest, that's okay. But I'm just kind of going to go through each of these teams and show you how I have them modded and kind of my priorities here. So basically, I look at my best teams, which is, of course, the Darth Revan, Jedi Knight Revan, Grievous, Night Sister teams, and make sure those teams, my core teams, have the best mods. And then the B tier, C tier, and D tier team or mods go to the rest of these guys afterwards. So you'll see how later down the list, the mods won't be as good. But that's kind of just how the cookie crumbles when you want your teams to flow. So I'll just kind of go through my mods here and show you how I have them modded. So I will actually just go to straight up Sith Empire. So Darth Revan I have mainly for my second fastest. He's got a 150 set. Bastila Shan has my fastest set at 158. The reason why I personally have Bastila Shan fall on the fastest is because you want her to apply Corrupted Battle Meditation very fast, and I would say about 80% of the time, whoever gets their Bastila Shan Fallen to go first will win the match. It's not 100%, but it's the most consistent way. I also mod Malak for extreme protection, because his protection pool goes into his health pool, as well as fast as I can mod him, and very tenacious. I mean, only additional of almost 12%, but that's all right. I gave him a pretty good secondary speed of tenacity here, and then of course I go for protection here, and protection here, and that's basically it. And I think I looked for tenacity. Yeah, I was looking for tenacity on the rest of these. Sith Marauder is just pure offense and crit damage. So I've done both ways. I've had this as an offense primary and a crit damage primary, and I 100% am now for a crit damage triangle. Yes, the offense number goes down a little bit, but the crit damage triangle does more damage overall, and I highly suggest it now. I do recommend an offense arrow, and then of course the offense cross, as well as the rest are pretty, you can't change the rest. But definitely crit damage triangle for Marauder. Sith Trooper is just Sith Trooper. There's not much cool modding about him. You can mod him for health, defense, tenacity. Not really needed for speed. Doesn't really matter. As long as you have protection on the arrow, protection here, and protection here, you're pretty much solid. You just want him to soak up as much damage. Speed is not that big of a factor. Tenacity does help, so he can hopefully resist a shock and keep his taunt up. But there's nothing really big on that. And then my second best modded team goes to Jedi Knight Revan. He has a 142 set. His stats I haven't looked at all. I don't really care about his primaries that much as long as he has speed. I do like a crit chance on this though. That is one thing I wanted, was a crit chance triangle, because I want him to crit as much as possible. And then I also did want an offense cross. Those are the only two things I really cared about, because he does hit pretty hard in raids and such, and I don't change mods at all for raids. Yoda is modded purely for offense and crit chance. You can see I have 4 offense, 2 crit chance mods with a... I would like this to have a crit damage triangle, but I only found a good offense mod. He's still pretty fast though, 110. He's very squishy, which is unfortunate, but this is the best modding I can do for his damage output. He's got a little over 6,500 damage with high crit chance, so 15% for special offense, which is good. That's pretty much how I have him modded. Basilisk Shan kind of just took whatever mods I can get on her. I wish I could get her faster, but that's just unfortunately how I have her. I do have her pretty tanky though. I'm not going to 6E this specific mod, but I do want to get her a faster speed secondary with a 16% health mod. But I do like the protection on the bottom too, because you want her to survive a lot. But of course, I'd love to get her speed up higher, but there are more important characters on my roster where I would like faster. Hoda, I'm wanting to bring him up to 6E sometime Gear 13, because then he'd be faster, but for the time being, I only have 110. I did have a faster set on him, but I just remodded a couple characters and brought him lower, and then used some speed on some other characters. The reason why I brought him lower is because I use him for offense, and defensive characters sometimes need a lot of speed, so they have more holds. So that's kind of why I did that. And he's naturally fast anyways. He's a fast character in general. And then Jolie, I also remodded. I took some health off a little bit. Yes, you do want some health on him, but I actually gave him a lot of tenacity. I have 40% additional tenacity. His speed is decent. It's okay. It's not he doesn't have a speed set, so it's not, he's not that fast. But I have protection here with a tenacity cross and protection here. When I do have the chance, I will swap out this protection and this protection for a 6E health mod. So eventually I'm going to want to get this to health primary and this health primary, but for the time being, because I don't have the 6-dot mods available, I have protection to keep him a little bit more tanky. My third squad is my Grievous team. I thought I clicked it. So Grievous, obviously, there's no real other way to mod him except for health. The only thing people change is this triangle. You can have either health or crit damage. Both work really well. I have not heard any specific sentence, I guess, I don't know, or statement proving which is better. Both work tremendously well. I just happen to have a plus 15 speed that had health percentage secondaries with a crit damage triangle. So, and that's health mod itself. So I just kind of use this, which works. And then I gave him a good 6-dot health mod, and I like it because it has potency and protection and health and speed. It's a pretty good mod there. Obviously, health primary needs to go on the rest of these as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. No other way to mod him. And then B1, I took some speed off him a little bit and moved some mods around, but he's still pretty fast. He's still 292, which is a good speed. I like to keep his potency above 110%, which is so he can apply those target locks, as well as I'm trying to get his offense up to plus 1,000 offense is kind of the goal. But that's all I have for him, no other way. I did manage to get my Droidica to 0 speed, which is exactly how you want him. You do not want any speed on him whatsoever. I do have him pretty tanky as well. I gave him a protection circle. And then you want offense here. Of course, the 0 speed is preferred for Droidica. He's the only character that I recall that needs 0 speed. And I mean absolute 0 additional speed with an offense here and offense here. That's pretty much it. There's no other way to mod this guy, just straight offense. So I did get his offense up to, that's special. Where's physical? There we go. Almost 7,000. I think this is my highest physical offense character. So he hits pretty dang hard. And then B2, you want specifically 100% tenacity, 100% potency. Speed doesn't matter at all on him as well. He gains a lot of turn meter from his uniques. And then survivability for protection. So I have protection here, defense here. I wish I could find protection on the triangles with a tenacity, but I do not have one available. So in the meantime, I'm using defense. That will eventually be swapped out. I also like it because it has 3.4% potency, so that's kind of what I have it. And then I succeed this for the extra potency, and then protection here, which has potency in the secondaries. So that's kind of why I have him. Magna Guard, you want pure. Oh, this was one of them that I had protection, but I'd rather have the protection on Magna than B2. But you want him for pure tankiness. So I have him at 111,000 protection plus 52,000 health and very good tenacity as well. You just want him to survive. So give him a protection focus on all 4 of these mods is the goal. And I have 1 defense set, 1 tenacity set, and 1 health set for him. So 1 of each. And then my 4th team is Night Sisters. So Night Sisters, I mainly focused on speed for these guys. Night Sister Zombie, you want to be very fast. So specifically, and healthy. So protection does help, but the thing is when she dies and comes back, she doesn't have her protection. She has her health. So that's why you want her to have full on health. So you give her a health here, a health here, and a health here. And then just as fast as you can get her with those specific mods. And that's pretty much it. There's no other modding for her that I looked for. Spirit, I went full out speed and damage. I have her at plus 127. She's a bit not tanky. She's a bit squishy. But I have a lot of offense on her. So that's kind of what I chose to do, offense with speed, because she does have that foresight passive. And yeah, that's basically what it was. I do want to try a crit damage here, but in the meantime, I'm liking the offense that I'm having right there. This mod had so much potential. It's a 5 roll mod with only 17. Like that's Very unfortunate. Yeah. Talzin, I'm working on. She's not greatly modded, but she does gain a lot of bonus turn meter from her Zeta unique. She's kind of the lone wolf of my Night Sisters that is weak in the modding game, not very strong. That's what my current game plan is. Like, there's a lot of stuff I need to change. Her speed's not tremendously great, and I think I have a crit chance. Oh, I thought I had a crit chance here. But yeah, she's not all that great in the modding game, but I got stuff to work on, which is always good. It means I can improve the Night Sister team. And then Assange is pure crit damage, crit chance. She's plus 97 with 72% critical damage. And then I have potency because on defense, you want her to stun as much as possible. And then her physical offense is pretty weak on my part. That's something I also need to work on, but I do have her crit chance up to 60%. But yeah, that's pretty much how I have her modded and my Night Sisters. And then my next team is my Padme. So, I personally do not use Padme for countering Darth Revan. I just use mirror matchup in Grand Arena, or if my opponent doesn't have a good Darth Revan team, I actually use my General Grievous, and then I put Darth Revan on defense, because a full Gear 13 Grievous team can beat a Gear 12 Malak and Gear 13 Darth Revan team. But once Gear 13 Malak rolls around, I have to use Mirror. But this should only be the case for the next couple weeks, as the meta change will soon come out. So, in the meantime, I have my Padme modded for facing other teams outside of Darth Revan. So I have her at 321 speed with a lot of health and some good potency, as I want her to land her stun. So her health is at 55k, which I have a health primary on all three of these. And then just as much speed as I can give her. So that's how I modded her. I also sometimes use Shock T on the team, but I can talk about her when I come to clones. I use Grandmaster Yoda with Jedi Knight Revan, but I do use GK with this team. He is lacking a bit on mods. He's mainly there for just soak up damage. This can be improved, but I think I have all three of these as protection. Yeah, these need to be improved a lot too. Mainly. And then Ahsoka Tano I have for pure offense with a crit damage triangle. I think I have crit chance as a secondary. So I have 90 speed. She's a bit squishy for my liking. I need to add more health on her and get her other Gear 12 pieces up to Gear 13 eventually. But she does hit pretty hard, almost 1,000 added offense. But she has a very high crit chance. And because I'm not facing Darth Revan, Darth Malak, the crit chance is nice because she, on a crit, she dispels debuffs on herself and another random ally. Anakin Skywalker, I also have modded for offense. I didn't have another crit chance set that I liked, so I do have 2 crit damage mods, but mainly because it had a high offense in the secondaries. He's also a bit squishy, but of course, since I'm not facing Darth Revan, it's not a big problem. I do have potency on him for the buff immunity because that's also very useful for other teams outside of just Darth Revan. He does have quite a bit of extra offense, but he does not have a crit damage triangle, which I am working towards. He just has an offense win for now. My next team is Traya. Traya I use for countering Night Sisters or countering Geos, kind of just depends. And because of this, they always target Scion. So Scion I have pretty fast, pretty tanky with some potency as well. Oh, I don't have any, oh yeah, that's right, I moved this. So I had a potency mod here about an hour ago, moved it to CLS. That's why I said I had potency, so I actually don't. I I have him decently fast. 115 is not the best, but he's pretty tanky. I have protection on all three of the changeable mods, and the changeable mods are the... Oh, I have crit chance. Well, that's something I gotta change. Pretty sure I had protection here. Anyways, so I will be looking for a protection triangle here. You should have protection here, but definitely have protection here, which I do. I also have a defense set, which I like. And then, well, I'm going to write this down really quick. Okay, so I will be changing that triangle to a protection. And then Treya, I have modded for, she's good tenacity and pretty offensively focused, meaning like crit damage. I like when she one-shots people with her Saber Storm. She doesn't need to be terribly fast. She does have pretty high base speed. Not high base speed, but you do want her to go after Scion, because when Scion dispels, she has an open field to isolate whoever she wants. And that's how I have the turn meter. I also have her pretty tanky and tenacious, so I have her plus 31% tenacity. Protection here. And then I love this because it has 8% tenacity with the crit damage. And then I have health here. So when I get 60, she'll be even more tanky. And then I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. Nihilus, you want the slowest of those three. So I have him pretty slow. Because you want him to go after Scion and after Treya. Because Treya will always feed the ability cooldowns to Nihilus, who will then force drain. And you want him tanky because you want him to survive the longest, so he can get some isolates down. So you get protection on these three. Is how I have him modded. And then those are the main three for those. And I always add Dooku to that team if I am facing Night Sisters. So I have him modded for a decent speed and high potency because I like landing stuns and shocks with him. Let's see. And then Geos was next. So Geos they're not beautifully modded at all. Like I said, as I go down the list, the modding gets a little bit less and less. So I have him modded for pretty tanky, very high health, and very high protection because he shares his health and protection with everybody else. And some decent speed. 106 is okay. Sunfac, I have very protection oriented as well. Pretty slow. Not that big of a deal. I just want him to have a big protection pool. Same with, or not same, but Poggle kind of just threw on random mods. I don't think I had any specific set in mind for him. Spy, I do not have modded correctly. You want either offense or crit damage, crit chance. Do not follow my lead on a speed set. The only reason I have a speed set on him is because my roster is 95% speed mods, and then like 5% crit damage and offense. So I just had these lying around. I do have a crit damage triangle on him and some okay offense. So don't mod him like this. I'm still working on a set. I need to farm more. This is just how I have him modded. And same with Geo Soldier. The only reason I'm going to bring Geo Soldier up into this is because you want him with a very high crit chance. His speed is decent, but his crit chance, you want him to be even higher than this. You want him to be in the 80s. Because the more he crits, the more turn meter he gets. So that's kind of the main thing. But yes, that's how I have them modded. Next would be my Bounty Hunter plus Nest team. So I have my Bounty Hunters pretty well modded. I do love Bounty Hunters because I'm a huge Django fan. So I have Django pretty fast, 304 speed with a crit damage triangle and a potency cross and a protection circle. This way he can land his burn, he can do some damage with his crit damage triangle, and he's very fast. And he also gets 30 speed from his lead, so he's technically 334 speed. With some okay offense, not the best, but a very high crit chance as well. So he's going to be critting all the time. So that's how I have him modded. Bosk I have very tanky. So I have protection here, protection here, protection here with a tenacity set and decent tenacity on some secondaries. So he is running at 123 with Django's lead. That's 316 speed. Or is that 306? I can't even do math. Yeah, okay. 316 speed. With some high tenacity, almost at 80% tenacity, and pretty tanky. Doesn't do too much damage, but he's not really a damage dealer. Boba, again, I only have him for speed because that's the mods I have available. But at the same time, I do like him being very speedy, as I like him to go more and do more executes and do more death from aboves. So I have a 93 set on him, not the best, but his offense is pretty good. I can't wait to get him to gear 13 eventually. He'll be doing a lot more damage. He has an okay gear 12 finisher piece. It's not the best. I wish it was a little bit better. But he is a bit squishy. Dengar, I don't have any reason for his mods. They're not great at all. They're just throwaway mods because I had nothing else to put on him. So, yeah, nothing special for him. And then I don't use CAD anymore unless I need a full team for like an event, like, you know, those bounty hunter events. But what I do use is Nest with the team, and I have her pretty fast. I have her at 301. This way she can land daze, and I also still have her above 100% tenacity, so she'll be resisting a lot of debuffs. This way, burn and AoE daze will be double ways to reduce turn meter and not allow the enemy to get any bonus turn meter from, let's say, a lead or unique. Even if they cleanse a burn, then I have a AoE daze come in, and vice versa. Very controlling team. Next on my list is Shakti and clones. I think I can just go through them right here. Yeah. So Shakti, I have pretty fast, pretty tanky as well. Nothing huge. She kind of just got whatever mods I was lying around. Pretty high crit chance. I'm curious to see how she does with more Gear 12 pieces and Gear 13 and how she will do with the upcoming meta. Rex I have pretty fast as well. He's 115. I do want him to go pretty fast because I want him to open up with this. As you'll see, his speed is 255, and with Shakti's lead, it's plus 35, so that's 290. So he'll be going fast. Plus he has the 4% speed for each 501st ally. So that is huge. Then fives, I have just tanky. I have a defense set and then 2 random mods. I couldn't find a better protection mod other than these. So he's pretty tanky. He's got 70k protection at gear 12, and his defense, armor is 11%. So additional. This is at almost 54%. Echo, nothing special. I think I did speed and crit chance. Again, this isn't the best. I do want either crit damage or offense. Speed doesn't hurt though. And then I'm waiting to see why we need this. I'm assuming a critical damage up ability will come from a new character that's coming out, but I'm just saving my Omega for that. I do have him decent fast, 96, okay offense, okay crit chance, nothing spectacular. Again, this team isn't modded for the best. I do have a crit damage set on him, which is at least something I can aim for. Nothing special on speed, but he does gain a lot of bonus turn meter from his abilities. And I do want a crit damage triangle, but I don't have one available to give him. After that, I have Palpatine. So nothing special here. Besides Thrawn is pretty fast. I have him at 132, which is 302 speed. Other stats just kind of come as they come. I mean, nothing needed. It's not like I wanted protection on all of them, but I think I ended up getting protection on the bottom too. So, yeah, I always swap turn meter with Vader and then open up with Force Crush, which gets the turn meter going. So I don't need Vader to be all that fast. Just need him to hit hard with crit damage. And then Palpatine I need to survive as long as he can with a little bit of potency. So that's what I have here. This is a very strictly offensive team. And then CLS, I have them decently modded. I have a 117 set on CLS with some good potency. This was the mod I was talking about from Scion. And then, oh yeah, and I don't have either of his 2 Gear 12 pieces, and then I don't have this as well. Chewbacca, again, this is not how you should mod him. You should mod him for offense. Speed doesn't hurt. You can mod him for speed. Depends on what you're going up against. But I do have high offense on him still, so that's why I'm keeping this set on him. Because I almost have an additional 1,000 offense with a speed set. And then Han, I have crit damage, crit chance with 66 critical damage and some decent offense, nothing special. And then I can throw in some random rebels here, like these guys, and then they kind of just go down. My rebels are not that great. And then my last one, I mean, I could talk about Kira, but my last of my 12 are my First Order. They kind of got the last bottom of the barrel mods. So we have a plus 90 set with some good protection. Then we have plus 90 or plus 89 with crit damage and some potency for some landing of the debuffs. We have it's not the greatest First Order Executioner. Officer is decently fast to get the team going. And First Order TIE Pilot is decent at 91 speed. Nothing huge. This team is not modded well. They just kind of got the bottom of the barrel. But that's how I mod my teams. Hopefully this helps kind of what to look for in modding and how to mod certain teams. Start with your top tier teams, make sure they're modded well, and then go down from there. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and enjoy.